Hello everyone. Today I am going to explain a 2018 fantasy horror movie, Look Away. Spoiler ahead. At the beginning of the movie, we see a sonogram of two babies sharing one womb. The scene changes to 17-year-old Maria Brennan getting ready for school. She is very shy and awkward in social situations. Because of her personality, she is often bullied by a classmate named Mark. Maria's only friend is Lily, who often ignores her when they are together. It can be said that Maria's school life is not ideal. One day at school, she and Lily are watching the hockey team's game. Lily interrupts the practice and starts getting affectionate with her boyfriend Sean. Maria watches them jealously, as she has had a crush on Sean for a long time. At home, she has dinner with her parents, Dan and Amy. Dan is a philandering plastic surgeon and an obsessed perfectionist. Constantly controls Maria's life, which is part of the reason for her social anxiety. Her mother, Amy, always tries to do what's best for Maria, but she suffers from depression and anxiety due to her husband's constant verbal abuse. Amy tries to arrange a boy for Maria to attend the upcoming graduation prom with, but Maria refuses, angrily returning to her room. On the way, she accidentally overhears Dan saying how much of a failure she is. She cries, evidently hurt by her father's words. Later, she finds a sonogram picture of twins behind the mirror in her parents' room. After looking at the picture, she goes to take a shower and notices her reflection moving on its own in the mirror. She is terrified and runs out of the bathroom. At breakfast, she tries to tell Dan about it, but Dan interrupts her, commenting on how terrible she looks. At school, Lily is busy taking care of Sean and ignores Maria, as usual. When Maria's not looking, Mark trips her and she falls to the floor. Everyone but Sean laughs at her. He makes sure she's okay and even blames Mark for his behavior. That night, Maria hears someone calling her name in the bathroom. She cautiously goes in and sees her reflection in the mirror, and the mirror turns to face another direction. The reflection introduces itself as Iram and claims that she has always been with Maria, even since her birth. The reflection boasts that it has the power to remove all of Maria's sorrow, but does not explain her true motive. As they talk, Maria actually starts to like Aram. Aram knows all her likes, fears, and dislikes, and they get along very well. Maria doesn't seem to mind that she's talking to a reflection. The next day, she's in a good mood. After school, she goes to her father's clinic, where she happens to notice her father being a bit overly friendly with a female patient. Maria thinks nothing of it and goes to watch a movie with him, enjoying their father-daughter bonding time. As they are leaving, she runs into Mark, who is nice to her in front of Dan. But his friends burst into laughter, making Maria feel terrible. Dan notices the children bullying his daughter but says nothing. On their way home, he tells her to come early to his clinic to pick a birthday gift. That night, Maria talks with Aram, who disapproves of her trying to improve her relationship with Dan. She mocks Maria for thinking Dan truly cares about her. On the other hand, Maria believes her father will give her a card the next day, so she won't have to ride the bus with those who bully her. However, when Dan reveals the next day that her birthday gift is a nose job, her hopes are dashed. He thinks her nose is imperfect and wants it to look more refined. Maria is dejected after the interaction, so she agrees to anything he says. When she gets home, Aram tells her that she always knew what kind of person Dan was. Knowing that Maria is heartbroken, she jokes about Dan's philandering ways to make her laugh. Amy hears her daughter talking to herself in the bathroom and is startled. She tells Dan about it, but Dan gives her a sleeping pill and tells her to rest. Before going to sleep, she tells Dan that she has started having the same nightmares again. The next day, Lily and Maria come to an old clubhouse to practice skating for the upcoming ice winter prom. Lily is a professional skater while Maria can hardly stand up. While trying to move, she falls and injures her knee, but Lily refuses to help her. She notices Maria eyeing her boyfriend and wants to teach her a lesson. As soon as Aram sees her at home, she immediately tells Maria that Lily is a bad friend. Maria still wants to give her a chance, but Aram is firmly against it. She reminds Maria of all the bad things Lily has done to her since childhood. Finally, she claims that if Maria switches places with her, she can eliminate all the pain. They touch each other's hands, getting closer to making the switch, but Amy interrupts them. The next day, Amy does Maria's makeup and dresses her for the dance night. Maria is unwilling to go, but she does it for her mother. However, when she arrives there, she already knows it's a bad idea. She can hardly stand up when everyone is skating. Her day gets better when Sean comes to help her and asks her to dance. They enjoy slow dancing together, while a jealous Lily glares at them. Suddenly, Maria slips and Sean goes to help her up, but Lily stops him, pretending not to see Maria lying on the ground. The bullying Mark reaches out to help her up, but instead drags her across the ice. Everyone laughs, mocking her pain, and Maria cries for him to stop. When he finally does, she quickly gets up and runs home. Maria has finally had enough of everyone treating her like trash. She cries to Aram, asking her to switch places and solve all the problems. Maria and her reflection join hands. After a while, Maria enters the mirror, and Aram takes her place in the real world. That night, Amy dreams of giving birth, but there are terrible complications. She has been having the same dream since Maria was born. In the morning at breakfast the next day, Amy notices a clear change in Maria's behavior. Normally, she hardly touches her food, but now she enjoys eating bagels and praises their taste. Amy feels happy about this positive change and doesn't think much of it. Walking into school, Maria is more confident than usual. When Mark comments on what happened yesterday, she seductively whispers in his ear for him to shut up. Sean witnesses this and asks her what she said to Mark. Seizing the opportunity, Aram does the same thing to him, flustering him. Lily brings up yesterday's incident, trying to make it a joke. Aram confidently asks her if she can continue teaching her how to skate. Lily is puzzled by her sudden confidence but agrees to meet her again at the clubhouse for practice. After school, Aram goes to see Dan at the office. She seems very happy to see him and says she has missed him. It is almost as if she is meeting him after years. Aram knows her father has had affairs, but her mother is too frightened to admit the truth. Still, she's determined to help her face the reality of their shallow marriage. When the reception is unattended, she calls Dan's mistress, telling her to come to the clinic at 1 o'clock. She also falsely tells her mother that she has a simultaneous appointment with Dan. When Amy arrives at the office later, she encounters the mistress in the elevator and realizes she is Dan's girlfriend. Later in the evening, Aram smugly asks Amy where her father is. Though knowing he's with his mistress, Amy lies, saying he's working late. A frustrated Aram bluntly tells her to accept the fact that her husband is in bed with another woman. Amy becomes furious, slapping her, but immediately apologizes. Even after being slapped by her mother, Aram smiles, pleased with the success of her plan. However, Maria is unhappy with Aram's rudeness towards her mother. Aram argues that she is doing what Maria never had the courage to do. She asks Maria to keep faith, but Maria starts to doubt if letting her go was a good decision. After school the next day, when everyone is about to leave, Aram lures Mark into the shower room. When he's not looking, she hits him with a hockey stick, making him fall to the ground in great pain and teaches him never to mess with her again. Later, she goes to the club with Lily to practice skating again. This time, Aram is much better at skating. To Lily's great annoyance, she believes she's better than Maria in every way. To Lily's complete surprise, Aram mimics her like a professional. Suddenly, Aram charges at her menacingly on the skates. Although they don't exchange words, Lily feels she's in trouble and runs away. As they are doing so, she loses her balance, crashes into the sidewalk, and loses her life from the impact. Aram immediately calls the police, pretending to cry. Because of what Aram has done to Lily, Maria is speechless. She cries, mourning the death of her best friend, but Aram just says Lily deserves it. Maria asks her to leave the mirror, but Aram refuses, saying she still has much to do. After mourning Lily, Aram goes to Sean's house, pretending to be saddened by her death. In fact, she wants to get closer to him, just like Maria has always dreamed. She makes advances toward him, but he doesn't respond at first. Eventually, he gives in, and they have intercourse. Aram and Dan go out for dinner, enjoying father-daughter bonding time. She orders a crab, eating messily, which angers Dan. When he tells her to stop, she puts her foot on the chair, challenging him. Dan sternly tells her she looks like a pathetic try-hard teenager, and she reverts to normal behavior. Meanwhile, she starts dating Sean, and they often skip school. They go back to her house where Amy sees them, and is uneasy about their relationship. Aram just tells her to continue sleeping and takes Sean to her room where they make out again. As they drive to school the next day, Aram sees the police entering the school. She urges Sean to skip school again so she won't be interrogated. They drive to a motel and start undressing. But then Sean receives a call from his mother telling him the police want to talk to him and Maria about the death. He wants to leave right away, but Aram refuses. She asks him why he still cares about Lily since she's dead. This makes Sean suspect that she's involved with Lily's death. When he calls her out on it, Aram hits him with a bottle and kills him. She and Maria sit on the bathroom counter and cry together. A flashback shows that Maria actually has a twin sister with a deformed face. Dan is a perfectionist and he doesn't like the second girl, so he euthanized her against Amy's will. Aram is his second daughter, still hurting from not being good enough for her father. Hours later, she gets drunk and goes to Dan's clinic. Dan tries to calm her down, but she strips naked in front of him and he's stunned. He orders her to get dressed quickly, but she doesn't comply. She asks him if he would love her even if she were deformed. Dan tries to evade the question, but when pressed, he says he would love her anyway. To his complete surprise, Aram cuts his throat with a scalpel. As he takes his last breath, she asks him why he can't love her. While cleaning the scalpel, Aram looks for Maria in the mirror but can't find her. She goes home, crawls into bed beside Amy. In the final scene, Maria and Aram lie in bed with their mother, implying the sisters have merged into one. The movie ends. Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button to help us. If you want us to review your favorite movie before next time, you can also leave a comment. Take care.